Today, I want to talk about some quick tips to get you through your next coding challenge technical interview. And stick around because I have a giveaway at the end of the video. I've been in the game, I've been in the tech industry for about 2 years now, and I have failed personally plenty of technical coding challenge. I actually did one recently where I had only about an hour to actually look at the actual assessments and whatever is kind of going on with the coding challenge. It was just awful. It was not a good day for me to actually take the challenge, and I regret it. I really didn't like having to do that. But I didn't like the job, so I wasn't really interested, but I decided to put my foot in the door and practice. So I want to make sure that I give you guys a couple of quick tips to help you succeed, or at least get through your next coding challenge for your technical interviews, because they're hard. They're always going to be just some kind of crazy, difficult, just maze of things that you have to feel like you're obligated to know, when in fact you're probably going to be just moving paragraph tags around all day. Now, for some of you, I know that you have gone through so much to make sure that you get and understand what is going on for concepts around data structures, algorithms, and you can probably just spout off all these memorized things in your sleep. That's not what I'm talking about. I really want to boil down some just tips and lessons that you should reflect on as you're going into these technical interviews, after you've studied, after you've gone through all of those interview prepping tips, after you've gotten through the first round of interviews, actually talking to a person and getting yourself into that next step of a coding challenge. When you've gotten to this point in a technical interview and you get to the technical challenge, I really want you guys, make sure that you hit this home. Read every single word of the challenge first before you do anything. I promise you, this is going to help you in the long run when it comes to the directions that you're going to be getting for any type of work, technical challenge, or interview that you get to do. And it just makes it so much easier to help comprehend and understand what exactly you're supposed to be doing in the long run. Always make sure that you have a pen and paper ready to just brain dump. I really think that this is important, especially for developers who are thinking about keeping a journal and figuring out what exactly they want to do with it when it comes to interviews. I really highly recommend that to keep your coding environment as clutter-free as possible. Start brain dumping whatever your analyses are, making sure that you find out and write down the steps that you think that you need to take, or theories that you might need to do to help solve the problem in your notebook, on a notepad, on a piece of paper. Have that pen and paper ready, because sometimes you might not be able to get access to Google anything. That really sucks if that's the case, but in some ways it really helps you get outside of your brain and just write down in an extra space, being able to have a place where you have your organized thoughts. Once you've gotten to a point where you think that you're ready to start, I would highly recommend that you start commenting out the steps that you think that you need to take to start executing your actual code. So just putting in some comments. Step 1, I need to make sure that I log this to the console. Step 2, I need to filter out this data, make sure that it's true or false. 3, I need to run this test or reverse this string or execute this method to make sure that I get this result. And that really helps, I think, with documenting what exactly your thought process was while you were actually in the coding exercise. And maybe that'll help you just document a little bit better, actually writing documentation in further projects that you're able to do. Again, it's all about making sure that you organize yourself, your mental capacity, as much as possible while you're actually going through the process of this technical coding challenge. I also really want you guys to make sure that you're time boxing yourself. And what I mean by that is there can be interviews where you have one challenge and you need to make sure that you spend about 2 hours on it. Or you could have multiple challenges that you might need to spend 2 hours on. Or you might have multiple challenges and you have an unlimited time to look at them. And that's great. That's how typical spans of technical challenges are. But I am a person that has really bad test anxiety, and so I will sit there on a problem and take way too much time focusing on that one thing instead of moving on to the next question and the next question and the next question, and making sure that I write down and document what I think is going on with the answer, or what I think is going on when it comes to getting that gobbledygook outside of my head onto a pen and paper, and not realize that a bunch of time has passed and I'm running out of it essentially to actually make sure that I finish in the first place. So make sure that as you are documenting whatever you're doing, whatever your steps are, if you feel like you're taking a lot longer to answer whatever the problem is, note it. Note it down on your pen and paper. Make sure that you do that and then go on to the next step. Maybe in some way you'll be able to circle back and find out whatever the solution was to your problem, or once you reach the end of the assessment, you can always go back. It's just like an exam. You can always go back to whatever the problem was and see if you'll be able to finish it after you've gone through the other steps to complete the assessment. Organize your code for each task that you've made a note of in step 3. It's super nice and organized and handy to make sure that you understand and keep track of the tasks that you're going to be doing when it comes to solving the problem. Say, for example, that you were hoping to find a way to reverse a string, an array of a string, and you need to make sure that you actually put under that step, that comment that you've made, how you're going to go through the process of reversing that string. That's the section that you're supposed to be putting it in. Again, it keeps you organized. It makes sure that you have space to figure out your thoughts, and you'll be able to keep yourself on track for the next step, the step before, and wherever you are in the process of solving this technical challenge. And after you have completed the assessment, make sure that you start cleaning up your code. And for me, that means that you want to make sure that you delete any console logs, any debug points, any whatever type of logs that you might need to use to actually test your code, and just clear it out. You don't need any of that. Maybe you've taken notes on your pen and paper to make sure that you understand like what exactly you've been able to test and whether or not the results were good and they were what you wanted, but that's not what we're looking for. That's really great that you have them, and you can note that in your explanation after you've done the technical challenge, but it's about cleaning up your code, so take those out. You don't need them. You know how when you were in school and you had to take those really long tests, and then afterwards you've gone and looked up the answers just to see what exactly you got right or wrong to predict the grade that you got? You can do absolutely the same thing with a technical challenge interview. If you feel like you've missed something and you've written it down, make sure that you look it up. Google it after the assessment and see what you got wrong or what you could have done better about the challenge. It'll only help you in the long run just to learn what exactly you need to do to take those steps to pass a technical challenge. And maybe this is something that you were slightly stuck on, and you'll be able to grow and figure out what exactly you need to do for the next technical challenge that you do. If you are able to, please, I beg of you, make sure that you ask your interviewer for feedback. You never know what they are going to say about the performance or how you did on the assessment unless you ask. You will never know what their impression is or what their expectations were when it comes to actually solving the technical challenge unless you ask. I really love being able to ask, what were your expectations when it comes to this technical challenge? Or what exactly were you looking for in a candidate that was able to pass this technical challenge? Or what exactly in a candidate were you looking for? I don't know, just something to that effect. I also think, and this might be just a very hot take, that it doesn't really matter if you necessarily want the job or not. If you feel like you need to practice in real life when it comes to technical challenges, why don't you just go for the interview anyways? I think that it's really important to understand that real life experiences will help you grow in the biggest ways, and LeetCode and HackerRank and all those other silly exercises, they aren't necessarily going to give you the tools and the feedback that you need to succeed in any of these technical interviews to get you from point A to point B. So I really would advise you guys that even if you don't think that you are right fit for the job, if you believe that maybe your only requirements or that you have half of the requirements for the actual job, or if you don't even want the job in the first place, like, you don't have to tell them. That's totally okay not to do that. It's just for practice. You want to make sure that you set that expectation for yourself that this is not something that like you need to put all this pressure on yourself for. It's practice. It's another practice thing. It's another practice assessment, and you're gonna get more feedback if you ask for it in a professional interview setting. So go out there, do it. You might as well. Your competition's gonna do it. They're gonna walk right in. They're gonna do the assessment. They're just going to get their foot in the door. They're gonna get accepted. And they know way less than you. Like, how are you going to have them like stand you up like that? Don't do that. Don't let them do that. Don't let the haters fool you. Do it anyways. It's gonna be fine. You don't have to take the job if you don't want to. Just try it, see what happens, because your competition's doing it anyways and they're getting their foot in the door. So like, why can't you do it? And for those of you that are still trying to get their foot in the door or get their foot in the door at their next tech job, they're still trying to figure out their goals, they're still trying to figure out their trajectory on what they want to do next to get to be a senior software engineer, I really have a great resource for you. My friend Josie from the Get Cute podcast, I'll link more descriptions down below. She has premiered her guide to becoming a senior software engineer. I am so ready for this ebook to drop. I really hope that you guys will support this. And today, I am telling you guys that I'm giving away 2 free copies of this book. So once it drops, I'll be able to give 2 free copies of this guide to becoming a senior software engineer. All I need you guys to do is log on to Twitter, make sure that you follow me, because I want you guys to follow me at Shidoni-chan, and I want you to retweet my new video alert. Make sure that you say that you're interested in this free book because I am giving it away. And that's it. That's all that I want you to do. Make sure that you do that, and make sure that you comment below on what other things and tips and tricks that you guys use to help you get through coding challenge interviews. Also, make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will make sure that I announce the winners of this giveaway on Friday. So you have time. Make sure that you retweet, make sure that you follow me, and like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.